Hello everyone, this is Remlace from 40k Theories, and welcome to this first of the Patreon Q&A sessions. So, I'll be doing one of these videos every month, and I'll be posting in Patreon itself when questions are open for the next month's video. So, without further ado, let's start with these questions that we have so far. Austin Horner asks, if the Imperial Inquisition was disbanded in the TTS canon, how was Lord Inquisitor Remlace still a Lord Inquisitor? Well, there's a very simple reason for this at this time. In the TTS canon, Remlace is disguised as a tech priest called Cyberdong. Unimaginative name, granted, but it's an effective disguise because, let's be honest, Remlace was a member of the Mechanicus at one point in time, before being promoted to a Lord Inquisitor. So, when you wear a tech priest and you look like a tech priest, it's easy to be overlooked. Diego Flores asks, can a world that has been exterminatus be reclaimed after terraforming or completely lost? This mainly depends on the method of exterminatus used. If, for example, it was virus bombed, all life on the planet would be dead, and potentially you could terraform it, but there's always the risk of some of the virus not dying off, so you could basically wipe yourselves out again. If it was subject to orbital bombardment, the world just could be too unstable to actually colonize again. It really does depend on the stability of the planet and the method of exterminatus used, but it's potentially possible. Right, Ashbringer asks, do you think that GW will ever kill off the Emperor to move the plot forward? No. They'll never do that. At least not in the main 40k game. They might experiment it on the Black Library side of things. In, say, like, someone has a vision of the future of the Emperor dying and what happens. That I can see happening, but in regards to the actual main plot point of 40k, no. Never gonna happen. Zero Hits asks, is it possible that some of the High Lords of Terror actively scheme to ensure that the Emperor will never rise from the Golden Throne, since they would stand to lose some measure of their overall power and influence upon the Imperium if he did? Oh, undoubtedly. The High Lords of Terror, they're pretty much constantly plotting against each other behind closed doors. It's just that everyone's so incompetent that nothing really ever gets done. But yeah, I can totally see that at least one of the High Lords is scheming to keep his power in place. Question from King Pen. What actually powers the Butcher's Nails? They are machines, but do they have a battery like a pacemaker, and if so, how long could it last before failing, or is it that the Butcher's Nails run off the power of the user's brain? It seems more likely that their Butcher's Nails are designed to be powered by the electrical impulses sent by the host's own brain, in my own personal opinion. Felix Argyle asks, could we use some form of speech device on a Tyrannid and converse with the hive mind? I doubt it. I mean, there were the Zotes who were designed initially as ambassador creatures to actually talk with other races. I know it's very strange why would the hive mind need an ambassador, but that's a different issue altogether. But in regards to creating a device to speak directly to the Nids, I don't see that happening. That being said, I can imagine some Inquisitor or the Death Watch, for example, capturing a synapse creature and then maybe altering its brain so it can actually communicate with nearby organisms to tell them to basically fuck off. Or whatever. Okay, Robert Berrios asks, given the nature of the 21st founding, do you think it was linked to the development of the Primaris Marines as a test run? Oh. To be honest, I can imagine that being the case. I mean, especially if, well, Call himself said he was tasked with something over 10,000 years that was put on hold. So, yeah, without a doubt, I can imagine the Cursed Founding being the initial test run for the Primaris project. Without doubt. Shayness asks, if the galaxy starts falling apart with the Nids eating everything, the Orc and Ragnarok happening, and the warp spilling into the universe, could the Eldari survive within the Webway and then return to take their empire? It's entirely possible. I mean, let's be honest, with the current state of the 40k universe, with the whole warp spilling into the material universe with the Cicatrix Maledictum, the Eldar are going to have the hardest time because of how low their population density is compared to other species. And let's be brutally honest, if any of the Eldar are going to survive if the apocalypse happens, it's going to be the Dark Eldar. Unless the Gate of Cain has truly fucked them over, because that's now leaking demons into Camorra. Despite what many people may think, Camorra has not been destroyed. Because while Camorra is the Dark City, it's effectively a city the size of a craft world. But yeah, I can imagine the Eldari surviving in the Webway. They just have to contend with the Drukhari. Let's be honest. Not to mention other things that live within the Webway, things such as the Psychnuid and any enslavers that might be floating about. But it's entirely possible. Especially if, with the Nids and the Orcs coming to blows, it's going to create a massive conflict within the galaxy as well, which is going to attract more Nids because more food, it's going to attract more Orcs because bigger fight. It's going to screw everyone over. Okay, and Natfree.Despeles asks, it's said that the Lion is asleep in the centre of the rock. However, after finishing Legacy of Caliban, throughout the book it says the Lion is dead. Do no members of the Inner Circle know he is alive, or is Asriel hiding it really well? As far as my knowledge aware is, no one within the Dark Angels themselves know that the Lion is still alive. The only beings who do know that the Lion is alive are the Watchers in the Dark and potentially Luther. But the Dark Angels themselves do not know officially. If Asriel did know, he'd have no reason to keep that secret from his chapter. If anything, he'd turn around and say, guys, our Primarch's alive, we just need to find him. Because with the huge morale boost the Ultramarines and their successor chapters got after Rabute Gilliman came back and said, 10,000 years gives you such a crick in the neck, and then he starts punching everyone while confused screaming happens. But the Ultramarines chapters got a huge morale boost from that, so if Asriel did know the Lion was alive, he'd have no reason to hide it. He would openly declare it to all the Unforgiven, and they would try and look for him, try and find him, try and awaken him. In my own personal opinion, at least, anyway. Okay, well that's the last question for this month, so if you have any more questions, leave it in the comment section in this post on Patreon, and I will answer it next month. So I hope you enjoyed this. This has been Remlace from 40k Theories, and thank you very much for your continued support on Patreon. It means the world to me. So thank you all once again, and take care. Bye bye.